To the conversation. And DDG, let's begin with you. What process was followed with the allocation of fishing rights, and why were they reduced so dramatically?
Once again, good morning, Leanne, and to Pedro and to your viewers. I must state from the start, this process was quite extensive. It was a 9-month process of extensive consultation, of meeting with all of the stakeholders in the fishing industry. And we are quite confident that our allocation process was objective, rational, and justifiable. Of course, there's misunderstandings around how the allocation took place. It was based on 3 fundamental criteria. One is to ensure that our fish stocks are managed in a sustainable way. The secondly was around the performance of previous rights holders. And thirdly, which is very important for us, was to ensure that we make an entrenched transformation deeper in the fishing industry, which is a critical imperative for our government and for our Minister, Tina Joemat-Pettersson.
Okay. All right. Pedro, from your point of view, or from the fishers' point of view, how is this going to affect them in the long term? I mean, we've spoken about the job losses, which obviously is of major concern.
Thank you once again, Leanne. Look, I think we have to look at it much more broadly than what the department or the way that the department is directing us. The various sectors, the job losses are going to be significant. It is not just direct job losses, as you've indicated, the 1,400 job losses, but there's also the ancillary support services. There's also the fish cleaners, the fishmongers. The line fish sector in particular is unlike any of the other sectors. There is a huge amount of jobs that's being created, and the reduction in the allocation process also means that the job losses will be significantly higher than what is currently being promoted by the department. Now, unfortunately, we're sitting in a situation where out of the allocation process, 2 distinct groups have emerged. The first group being the ones who had their rights in the past, and the second group being the new applicants. In other words, crew members who have previously worked in the or currently working in the industry, who have applied for rights. Many of them are 2nd, 3rd, 4th generation fishermen who had fallen out of the processes in the past. We find that very disturbing because although an exemption has been granted, once the exemption expires, we are going to be back to square one again. So it is, for all intent and purposes, it is just a matter of, sort of prolonging the agony. There is going to be another fallout within the next month or so once the exemption expires. And that for us is a very critical issue. We are going to face that problem again. Yeah. What are we going to do? There is no way that the department at this point in time will be able to meet the transformation imperatives, which clearly needs to be met by government. Because if we exclude the people, who, especially the new applicants, the majority of them being colored and black, if we exclude them once again from the processes, then the composition of the allocation processes or the beneficiaries will be of such a nature that it is way beyond any means of transformation as such.
Yeah, DDG, let's go back to you now. I mean, you've heard the concerns, and I imagine what's of most importance is this is the livelihood of so many people. The figure that I quoted was 1,504 fishers or rights holders and crew that will remain jobless. But I don't know if that's the correct figure that you are looking at.
Respectfully, I think I know Pedro very well. That is absolutely not true. In fact, through our allocation process, which is not said, is that we have allocated 50% of the rights that are available to commercial sector. And we have looked at the past performance. Now, in the past, the allocations were based primarily on people that have been privileged in the past. And we have now corrected that, where we have affirmed those ones who have performed well. Out of those that have had rights before, 150 of them have not utilized those rights. Now, this issue about the jobs that we are talking about, in the line fish industry, none of these jobs are permanent jobs. It's people that live on commission. The boat owners take most of the money. In fact, our policies of transformation wants to affirm the crew members. There are 3,450 crew members on these boats, and our allocation process is geared to empower them, empower the hawkers, the whole value chain of our fisheries. Now, the second part of that is very important. Is a very a policy around the small-scale fishing, which will empower thousands of fishers who have been denied access to fishing rights, and that is what our policy is based on, our allocation process is based on. The first time in the history, we will give fundamental access to women, to young people, through the small-scale fishing policy, which will, as the President also have said, we must empower cooperatives. That policy is the process of where communal rights will be given to communities through cooperatives. And that is what we see that will enhance job creation, give quality jobs to our people, and not this over-exaggeration of the challenges that has been faced now. We are working with the legitimate lionfish associations, and all of them have agreed that our process has been fair and equitable. Many of the people that are complaining, which Pedro talks about, those are people who don't have rights. They are crew members on those boats, and they don't have any quality jobs because most of the fish that they catch goes to the boat owner. The workers we've met with, they've said to us, we must work with them, and we are going to work with them to ensure infrastructure for workers so that they can be part of this whole value chain. Yeah. So we are quite confident that this process of transformation is not going to be stopped. We are going to ensure that jobs are more quality jobs that are created, but that we want to have an inclusive fishery process for the future of our country.
All right, Desmond, I'm just going to ask you to hang tight, Jacob, and ask you to hang tight as well. We're going to take a break here on Morning Live, and I really am looking forward to a response from Jacob after what has been said. Fair, equitable, quality jobs is what's being promised. Jacob, I'm dying to know if you agree. All right, stay tuned. We'll get the answer after the break.